Today's Democrat Party is willing to allow death and violence in order for election fraud to help them secure a win. We're covering that, the ongoing conflicts in the Middle East, and more. I'm Christy Lee, bringing you the counter narrative.
Side.
Now, coming up, we've got Captain Elkanah Cohen on deck with his firsthand account of fighting with the IDF since the October 7th brutal attack on Israel. We're also getting insight on the attack on America through the border with former terrorism intel manager Todd Bensman. Speaking of the border breach, the Dems have done nothing to really secure the border. They're willing to turn a blind eye to the rapes, the murders, the deadly fentanyl, and human trafficking, all just to retain power. As Revolver News points out, Elon Musk is connecting the dots on why Dems refused to pass the SAVE Act, which would help ensure only U.S. citizens are able to vote in the election, and why are they so resistant to requiring a voter ID. He posted this screenshot on X of more than 70 countries that require voter ID, saying, because not requiring ID combined with mail-in voting makes it completely impossible to prove fraud, obviously. And here's how it works. There's an interview with Glenn Beck about how they're able to work the system, we'll say. Watch this.
Are illegals being registered to vote?
Yes, they are. And here's how it's happening. You have them going into the Department of Motor Vehicles, or whatever it's called in your state, Department of Transportation, Department of Driver Services, and 31 years ago, Congress passed a law saying that states must, when issued a driver's license, that people must be given the voter registration forms. They must be given those forms at the DMV, or if you go to sign up for food stamps or welfare benefits, that wherever people interact with these two types of government agencies, they must be registered to vote. And so that law also requires that states must accept and use the federal voter registration form. Well, that form just has a box to check. Are you a citizen? And we have ample evidence over a number of years where people will check the box, no, I'm not a citizen, and they get sent over and registered to vote anyway. Well, now what you have, and I have had reports, people have seen this all over the country, that when they have been going in, being just normal people going in to get their driver's license renewed or a tag for their new car, and they see these clusters of people who clearly don't speak English. In Michigan, a fellow sent me something about a group, and this woman had a big sign around her neck that said interpreter, and she was taking them in to get their driver's licenses or their ID cards. And I have absolutely no reason to think that they're not automatically being added to the voter rolls, because Michigan has a new law.
Of course, Michigan has a new law that will make all of this process easier for them. And it's interesting how illegals have this process to get an ID, but, it's racist for anybody else to be expected to get an ID. Democrats are saying, hey, it's already illegal for non-citizens to vote. Yes, but if there's no system in place to require them removed from voter rolls, no way to enforce the law, then it's happening. And you can't say that it's rare that it happens if no one is actually checking. Arizona is having to sue over the voter rolls. 15 counties are refusing to undertake required procedures to ensure foreign nationals are removed from those rolls. An amended lawsuit filed Tuesday alleges, according to the Federalist, brought on behalf of the Strong Communities Foundation of Arizona and resident Yvonne Cahill. The legal challenge argues that the Grand Canyon State's 15 election recorders have, quote, failed to take the actions required by law to ensure that foreign citizens are removed from their voter rolls. If Democrats really wanted to restore faith in elections. If it's a threat to democracy to be skeptical or concerned, then why aren't they doing anything about it? They wouldn't resist these common sense measures to secure them. Now, among her many flip-flops, Kamala used to be for paper ballots when she was a senator. Watch.
Of systems to audit, but also what they can do around best practices and best machinery. We are talking with them about the fact that it is probably best that you do not have your election system connected to the internet, because that will create greater vulnerabilities. And then look at where we are now in this year of our Lord 2018. We're talking about paper ballots, but that actually might be one of the smartest systems. Going back to, a day when we could have something tangible that we can hold on to, because Russia cannot hack a piece of paper like they can a computer system connected to the internet.
I thought that machines weren't connected ever to the internet. What's going on? But if corrupted machines and ease of illegals voting can help her secure power, of course, her stance has since changed. She and other operatives are willing to put all American safety at risk to stay in power. While legacy media has gaslit us about the illegal immigrant gangs taking over apartment buildings, even going so far as to say it was right-wing disinformation, we're learning they knew for weeks that a Venezuelan gang had infiltrated, according to the Independent Sentinel. Letters obtained by the Denver Gazette from the law firm representing CBZ Management, whose apartment complex in Aurora was shut down over what the city described as safety issues last month, show officials were fully aware weeks ago of accusations that a Venezuelan gang had, quote, forcibly taken control of the property. All this for votes, really? Meanwhile, Tim Walz has been ducking reporters since it's been revealed his own family members are supporting President Trump. Watch this.
Governor, any reaction to your family saying they're going to support?
Press, we're going to stay here. Press, hold. Great. Thanks, guys. We're heading back to the vans. Sitting down there. Give me a minute.
At all from him since all of his lies were exposed. Now, remember how much of a big deal they made about RFK Jr.'s family not supporting him? This was actually one of the reasons I was given for, I can't even look and hear what RFK Jr. has to say because his own family doesn't support him. Okay, well, what about Walz? Or how about Mary Trump? From the Daily Caller, Donald Trump Jr. explained he does not believe the media will cover that several members of Democratic Minnesota Governor Tim Walz's family, including his own brother, are reportedly supporting his rival, former President Donald Trump. He said they made Mary Trump into the biggest Trump family, like eligible person. This is someone I literally think I've seen once in 25 years, and that was at my aunt's birthday party at the White House for like 90 minutes, maybe 2 hours, somewhere in the middle of my father's presidency. I hadn't seen her since I was probably early teens prior to that. But, the legacy media, they propped Mary Trump up, acted like she spoke for all Trump members with the warning of the danger of Trump. But will we hear from them about how Tim Walz's family feels and that they're actually supporting Trump? But the Dems are desperate now that Kamala's honeymoon spike is over. Just take a look at this. Nate Silver election model raises Trump's victory chances to 60.1%, Pennsylvania to 61%. And predictably, it's time to hype up Russia again. From the DOJ, Justice Department disrupts covert Russian government-sponsored foreign malign influence operation targeting audiences in the United States and elsewhere. Our friend Kyle Seraphin gives a great summary. He posted, hey, if you don't understand the basics of the tenant situation, how they're accusing some of these influencers of working with Russia, here are some takeaways. The indictment is for RT employees in Russia. So likely we'll know there will be no arrests. The indictment smears Americans that are not charged, including Benny Johnson, Tim Pool, being paid by someone who lied to them about the source of the funds and nominally backstopped it. The indictment admits the licensed content is varied in perspective, but generally favors Russia because it shows the divisions within the country. DOJ gave legacy media a tool to attack independent media platforms that don't shill for our current corrupt propaganda slinging, censorship loving, leftist supporting government. This announcement and all of the easily unmasked Founder One, Company One, and Commentator One information is a welcome distraction from the U.S. counterintelligence failures regarding the Chinese threat, including how several prominent Democrat, state, and federal politicians have seriously suspicious and well-documented ties to Chinese intelligence operations. We don't hear much about that, though, do we? Plenty of people in the media influence space have zero scruples and never look a gift horse in the mouth. This is how trusted people will sell their credibility to all kinds of companies that will fleece the audience on the say of trusted names. Your trust and attention span has been monetized for a long time, all TV advertising. The only answer is skepticism. Now, up next, so much for Kamala's task of finding the root causes of the mass migration. Todd Bensman is joining with insight on how on the nation's security via the Darien Gap, what the security threat level is at. But first, let's hear from the sponsors that make this show possible.
Throughout history, the spirit of patriotism has prevailed. The battles may have changed, but the values remain the same. Today, in 2024, we find ourselves at a pivotal moment where the call for unity, freedom, and a better future echoes louder than ever. For more than 10 years, Patriot Mobile has been committed to supporting the values that make our nation great. With affordable plans and reliable nationwide coverage, Patriot Mobile is not just a wireless service. It's a call to action for those who believe in the American dream. Because this year is not just any year, it's the most important year since our nation's founding. Choose a wireless carrier that shares your values. Choose Patriot Mobile.
I don't know about you, but I have to have that cup of coffee in the morning. And Kingdom Cup is mold-free, it is pesticide-free, and it is organic. It's got this flavor that is delicious. You don't even have to put cream or sweetener in it.
Why did we go with the bean form, the whole bean? Because ultimately the powder form is the one that gathers the most moisture. And that means the more potential mold development. This is actually organic, mold-free, certified. That's important because ultimately people drink coffee, it's cultural. And so we tried to meet the culture where it is and create a healthy alternative.
Make the healthy choice for you and your family. Try mold-free, pesticide-free, and it's organic. Delicious Kingdom Cup coffee. And it's available now at the Patriot TV store. Go to patriot.tv and click on store. You'll find Kingdom Cup coffee in the health and wellness section. Order Kingdom Cup coffee at the Patriot TV store now.
Now, migration to the U.S. via the Darien Gap is a national security concern, of course. Here to discuss is Todd Bensman. He's a former intel manager and investigative author of Overrun, How Joe Biden Unleashed the Greatest Border Crisis in U.S. History, and also America's Covert Border War, the untold story of the nation's battle to prevent jihadist infiltration. Bensman is a two-time National Press Club award winner, frequently reporting from the southern border, traveling widely inside Mexico, Central America, and South America, more than 2 decades, doing very important work. Thank you so much for coming on.
Great to be here. Thank you.
Absolutely. We're going to try and cover as much as we can, but let's start with the Darien Gap because you were recently there, is my understanding, right?
Yeah, I've just returned. I was there in Colombia for a week on one side and then moved to Panama on the other side, the exit side, and was about another week there. So I'm right in the middle of producing all of my reports and material. The reason I went there is, for those of you who aren't familiar with the Darien Gap, it is a notorious foot passage connecting South America to North America, through which hundreds of thousands of illegal immigrants have passed into Panama on their way to the U.S. border. All of them have gotten into the United States, and they're from 160 different countries, including all the Muslim majority nations of the world, every nation on the continent of Africa, and 60,000 Chinese, everybody from some other part of the world. That's how they get to the U.S. border. And it's been heavily trammeled in the last few years. 550,000 alone in 2023, 250,000 so far this year. But the Panamanians elected themselves a new president who said, for the first time, I'm going to close the Darien Gap. And he's down there right now trying to get it closed. And I wanted to go down and see how things are working out with that.
Now, we're not supposed to call Kamala Harris the border czar anymore. They're like, no, she was never the border czar, after even using that term themselves for a long time. But they settled on, she was charged with finding the root causes of the migration. In her task with finding the root causes, should she have been paying more attention to the Darien Gap, doing more? Should she have been communicating with the new president in Panama? What should she have been doing?
Sure. Well, keep in mind that whatever you want to call her, the czarina, the princess of this strategy, the root causes strategy, it's irrelevant, whatever you want to call her, completely. But the strategy itself was the Biden administration's signature keynote central strategy for border management. They announced that early on in the campaign, and then they implemented it. And she was quite honored to take charge of an administration's central strategy for the border. So let's just kind of get that out of the way. She held press conferences boasting of what she did, etc. Root causes as a doctrine really is about nation building the highest sending poor countries. In this case, it was 3 that they identified in the northern triangle of Central America: Honduras, Guatemala, and El Salvador. So we're going to build those up so nobody wants to leave. It'll be these paradisical places by the time we're done with it that nobody would ever want to leave. Of course, it's absurd on its face. They tried this in Europe for 30 years and it never worked. But the problem is that it didn't address Haiti or Venezuela or any of these other massive sending countries who were putting them through the Darien Gap first and then running right over those 3 countries. So it was problematic from the get-go, and where they really should have addressed our border crisis was in Panama and Colombia. That's the Darien Gap. 2 million people alone crossed through there, and all of them got into the U.S., including 60,000 Chinese and all kinds of people on the terror watch list, etc. That's on her for not bottlenecking them up in the 3 countries that she was responsible for, or ever talking about it, even once, the Darien Gap.
Unbelievable. And so how big of a national security threat is this area? Because, earlier in the show, I was talking about the huge resistance to ensuring that illegal citizens don't vote. And it's like, surely you don't want to make this connection that they would resist these efforts to secure our elections, make sure foreign nationals are not participating in our election process. Surely they wouldn't allow a national security of a great magnitude just to try and find a way to maybe fudge the numbers on election day. But I don't know. Help me understand, how big of a threat is this?
Right. Well, it used to be regarded as a right-wing fear-mongering conspiracy theory that Islamic terrorists were crossing the border. Anytime anybody would say that, they were immediately relegated to the crazy trash bin by the regular media until April of 2022. And what happened then is that the U.S., the DHS, Department of Homeland Security, decided to start publishing the monthly numbers of people on the FBI's terrorism watch list who were caught at the southern border. That number today numbers 380 people, a complete record. We had never had numbers like that who are on the terror watch list that we caught at the border in this particular 3-year period. of the mass migration crisis that the Biden administration, Harris administration unleashed. Now, I just came back from Panama, where I interviewed the leader of Cinefront, which is basically it's their border patrol down there. This is the leader, and they just caught 3 Afghans who were on the terror watch list, connected an active terror cell, got them off the line down there. And I asked him about that, and he said it's absolutely true. They've got the photos, the guys in the hoods, the whole thing. But interestingly, he told me that we have stories like this all the time. I just wrote this up, and you can find it under my name at the Center for Immigration Studies, CIS.org, this whole story about what the Cinefront chief told me. And more interestingly or concerning is that he said that so many people from all around the world have come through there that they are no longer able to check for terrorism connections, fingerprints, and all the rest of more than 1% of the people coming through now, where it used to be 90% before this started. So what's happening is they would pull them off the line down there in the good old days of low regular numbers. And now they just have to let them all through. They don't have time to check. And that's why we've had so many actually reach the American border. And if that's not concerning enough that Panama, the screen in Panama is off, turned off, the defensive barrier down there that we had is off. The Department of Homeland Security just produced an investigative report, OIG, saying that at least 99 people on the terror watch list were accidentally released into the United States. I'm sorry, that's the House Homeland Security Committee, not OIG, produced that report based on information that they got from records demands. 99 at least got through. We didn't catch, and I can probably guess that many more than 99. So the Darien Gap is a major national security issue. Thank God the Panamanian president is offering to close it down. But guess what? The U.S. Government, the White House, isn't interested in helping them out. And they have slow walked the aid that they promised to give the Panamanians for air repatriation flights. They're doing like just a few instead of like what's needed for deterrence, bypassing this golden opportunity to serve America's national security interests.
So, I mean, the obvious question is, what is the motivation? Surely this can't all be to secure votes to stay in power. Could there be other motivations for why they don't take a hard stance on the border?
Well, I believe that it has to do with the people that the administration brought into the White House, into the Domestic Security Council, Policy Council rather, into DHS, et cetera. Those people came from migrant advocacy nonprofit organizations. There's a whole industry out there of organizations that get paid government money to manage immigrants and resettle refugees and to deal with them. And those are the people that are the architects of the catch and release Biden policies that caused all of this. And it's no wonder, because now they're being given billions and billions of dollars in contracts and grants to manage the crisis that they organized. So this is the ultimate sort of self-serving kind of, whatever they call it, the self-licking ice cream cone that they created there. Kind of like what Eisenhower warned us about with the military-industrial complex. Don't let them get a hold of foreign policy, or we'll be at war all the time so they can make bombs and bullets and millions of dollars. That happened with the immigration portfolio. The NGOs and the United Nations and all of those agencies are just filthy rich now.
So, as usual, it's a follow the money type situation in addition to the other benefits they might receive. We are quickly approaching our November elections, and so interested in what you foresee happening between now and then. What have you observed as far as that gap before and after November elections?
Well, a lot of us that follow this sort of thing, pay attention to less to what candidates are saying in the midst of silly season, campaign season, than what their positions were just a couple of years ago. And Kamala Harris's positions on border security and illegal immigration was as extreme radical left as you could possibly get. Historically fringe, way on the outside, off the grid, and she was public about it. She ran for president in 2019, trying to get the Democratic nomination. Didn't make it, but her campaign platform is out there. No detention, no deportation. Are you in favor of decriminalizing illegal border crossing? Raise your hand. She was right there. Are you in favor of giving free health care to illegal immigrants? Raise your hand. She was right there. She's on record. Are you against building the wall? Yeah, I abhor the wall. It's terrible. She is soundly, as of 2019 and 2020, in that camp. And I don't think that the leopard changed her spots that much in 36 months. And I don't think she will. So if she actually wins, we can expect this mass migration to continue to roar into the country. We have 10 million in so far.
Speaking more on Kamala on the border, she's suddenly acting like she is taking a hard stance on the border. She even has an ad out, basically touting how she's been hard on it. And she's on record, even CNN, who normally shills for her, she's on record more than 50 times on her social media talking about how horrible the border wall is that Trump wanted to erect, yet she features it in a recent ad. But I don't know if you also had the pleasure of seeing that hard-hitting interview with Dana Bash, where she gave her a multiple choice answer and basically asked, voters are concerned about your changing stances. Could it be because you've been in the White House and that changed your perspective? Something along those lines. So what do you make of her switching positions? Do you buy it? Is there any chance that having been in the White House, it did change some of her perceptions and values, as she says?
I mean, I'm very hopeful, of course. I want to be optimistic, but I can't help but feel pretty skeptical. I never heard her disavow any of her prior positions, her own 2019 campaign platform. She's never disavowed it. And she's defending the Biden administration's border policies and pretending like what happened didn't really happen. She's in denial. She's a professional denialist on this stuff. I hope that the reality of the polls, Americans just hate this. They hate it. And I'm hoping that maybe she'll have heard that and is fearful of voter backlash for the House, for the Senate, not just for herself, but for power. And that's the way our system is supposed to work. And I know she's going for the independent swing voters on this stuff. Independents hate what they did just as much as Republicans. And she's got to do something and say whatever she can to kind of get them on board. Kind of like this reminds me of in the closing days of the first Biden campaign, where all of a sudden he was in favor of fracking in Pennsylvania. And we all know how that turned out.
Yeah, obviously we cannot trust what they tell us. But you raise a good point. She doesn't actually, well, she rarely appears on camera for one thing, or actually says anything at all. So you're hearing a lot of these supposed policy changes from her staffing. So then she'll have the ability to be like, where did I say that? I never said that, because the legacy media is just reporting what her staff is saying her policies are. But yeah, she's never gone on record to condemn Joe Biden's handling of the border. And in your book, Overrun, you talk about how this is truly the greatest border crisis in the U.S. And Joe Biden is at fault for unleashing it. So tell me a little bit more about that book and where we can pick up your books.
Right. Overrun is the only book that actually documents what happened, who did it, why, when, and what it looked like on the ground. I've interviewed thousands of immigrants as they were coming in all different kind of countries. This is a historical record of what happened the first couple of years of it. And we really can't find our way out of this thing unless we understand how we got into it. And there's so much disinformation and malinformation out there right now about how we got into this and who's at fault. This book absolutely pins the tail on the donkey in a big way, with absolute certainty about who did this, why, and when they did it. And it traces literally to the hour after Biden's inauguration in January of 2021. That's when it started. And it never really ended. Now, they've got it a little bit controlled now, just for the optics of this election. So they can't be having Fox News drone footage right now, a couple months of thousands of people pouring over. So they had Mexico shut it down for them temporarily. And I believe that on November 5th, whoever wins, the Mexicans will be like, okay, we're good now. Let them go. And we'll see another rush on the border.
Well, it is so important that people have a really good grasp of what happened, what is happening, how it happened, who to blame, because it's going to take all of us to reach across the aisle and explain this to people with solid facts. You've done us a great service by putting this all in your book, making it clear to understand so that we can tell others. So I really encourage people to pick up your book. Where's the best place to get it?
The book is published by Post Hill Press, Bombardier Books. It's available anywhere books are sold, bookstores, Amazon. There's an Audible version, and it's on Kindle, and you can get it anywhere, anytime.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Todd, for your insight. And I know you have so much more to share. So we're going to have you back on soon to tell us what else you're uncovering. I know you have a lot of things in the work that you're looking to publish. So please keep us updated.
I will. Thank you. Appreciate having
Thank
me.
you. Yeah, absolutely. All right. Up next, how is the Biden administration handling the Hamas war against Israelis and Americans? We're going to hear from Captain Elkanah Cohen after we hear from our sponsors that make this show possible. It's so important to get the counter narrative. Take a listen.
Looks like you've been sleeping well.
Megan, he's back. The My Pillow guy.
And you're looking good.
Still feeling good.
Well, just when you thought it couldn't get any better, we've got the best pillow ever, My Pillow 2.0. When I invented My Pillow, it had everything you'd ever want in a pillow. Well, now there's new technology that makes it even better. My Pillow 2.0 has my patented fill combined with a cooling fabric with temperature regulating thread. My Pillow 2.0 is truly the next generation of My Pillow.
Now's the time to go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use the promo code to save 50% on your MyPillow 2.0. Not only that, for a limited time, your entire order ships absolutely free.
You're sleeping even better.
And cooler, too.
And you're looking good.
Feeling good.
I knew you would.
MyPillow.com. Looking to give your wardrobe an upgrade? Well, look no further. Here at God Country and Kin, we've got you covered from head to toe, from shoulder to shoulder, and everything in between. Introducing our brand new Patriotic Collection, designed to display your patriotic spirit with a stylish look that's sure to turn heads. And the best part is, you don't have to break the bank to be your best you. Why wait? Visit us online or in-store today and elevate your style with God Country and Kin. God Country and Kin, where patriotism meets style. Shop now. Visit the Patriot TV store and look for the God Country Kin banner to find the perfect outfit, shirt, accessory, or maybe a great hat. You can totally see yourself rocking this hat. I know you can. And check out all the great stuff we've got to show your patriotism at patriot.tv.store. Click that link above that says store and join me there at the Patriot TV store.
Sure, you make it a point to visit the Patriot TV store. I did the other day, and oh my goodness, there are so many great things. I've been eyeing that hat in that advertisement there. It's so cool. There's actually a whole apparel section if you go to the Patriot TV store. So you can look at God Country Kin, and there's some other places. And yes, gear up so we can have those one-on-one conversations, because sometimes they don't happen on social media because of censorship. So wear your banners, wear what you believe in, and have those conversations in person. All right, Hamas has executed 6 hostages, including Americans. Yet, you have legacy media or the Wall Street Journal reporting that Israel is actually being blamed for this. All of this under the Biden administration. To discuss, Captain Elkanah Cohen is joining us. He's an Israeli commando officer and author of October 7th, The War Against Hamas Through the Eyes of an Israeli Commando Officer. So thank you so much for being here, Elkanah. All right, so we were talking about how Hamas took the lives, including Americans, and you have some reporting that Israel is actually to blame. So what is your reaction, since you've been on the ground and you know the evil of the Hamas? What is your reaction?
Yeah, so first of all, thank you for having me. My reaction that a few days ago we just exposed again, and it was a reminder for what Hamas doing and what is their purpose. And they brutally murdered those 6 hostages. They executed them, and they just show their attention. And for the people who asking for us to do any ceasefire or anything like that, we just can't. We have a brutally enemy that want to wipe us out and killed as many Israelis and Jews as they can. This is it. It's basically, this is their attention, unfortunately.
I've been doing some reading that the Biden administration is actually handicapping your ability to take more of a defensive action, to go after and eliminate this violent threat. Is there any truth to that?
Well, I'm not a politician, and I'm not actually understand what's going on between the governments and the Biden administration, but I can tell you that everyone should support what the IDF is doing right now, and everyone should support the state of Israel, because what we're doing here is to fight for our sake, for our brother and sister, that while we're talking 101 people are still holding at captivity, and those terrorists are just getting reward for what they were doing. It's make no sense. They were slaughtering babies and parents in front of their children. What they did on October 7th, and they still keep doing right now. And as I told you before, 6 of our hostages were just executed because the IDF was close to rescue them. So everyone should support, and everyone who not supporting just don't understand that this is not the war between Hamas to Israel. This is the war between terror group and against the entire Western world, because they want to wipe out the entire West. They don't care about Israel. Israel is just a step on the way. But right now we are fighting something that much bigger than us. And I think everyone should understand that and support that.
And so obviously it was important for you to document what you were seeing, what you were going through, and that is the source of your book, October 7th, is your firsthand account of what was happening. When you compare your firsthand accounts of what you've seen and had to endure, how does that compare with the news reports that you're seeing about the conflict? How is the media handling the truth of the situation?
Yes, so unfortunately, we're looking at the PR bottle. Hamas much better than us, and the fact for that is because I saw all of those protests against the IDF. Well, I can tell you that I know what I saw and what I was witnessed for, and how many times I put my life on the line in order to make sure that we're not harming any civilians. And yet we hear all of those people who protest. And I want to tell you that I'm newlywed, an expecting father, student, personal trainer. The last thing that I want to do is to participate war. It's not just me. It's my friends, my comrades, everyone around me in my unit. But unfortunately, we were forced to fight for our brother and sister, and we're doing everything in our power in order to avoid any casualties. And I think I mentioned we already had an interview before, and I mentioned one story that we had during the combat, and I want to share that again because I think it's a very important story. One of the time we got an intelligence that one of the school where the next to us were full with infrastructure used for terror, but we also knew that that school was full with civilians. As we always do, we start calling them all out, but no one left the area. So we used a drone in order to scan the area from above, and then we realized that there is Hamas guard inside that school that didn't let any one of those civilians to leave the area. And one of the kids there, 5 years old kid, tried to run away, a Palestinian kid tried to run away, and the Hamas guard shot him in his head and killed him in front of his mom. So it's not that we are fighting for us. We're also fighting for those civilians that did nothing wrong. Some of them are supporting our deaths. Maybe some of them are not actually Hamas, but some of them supporting our deaths. It's another side of the story. But we are fighting for those who forced to be using as a human shield. And we realized that we have to kill those guards in order to evacuate them, all the civilians that were inside that school. And then later on, one of the Hamas guard went on the rooftop and he was holding a baby because he knew that will be the best cover for him. Holding a baby and using our morality against the cause for us to fight for our people, but we didn't took that shot. And later on, he went on the rooftop again. He was surrounded by a group of women. One of them banned a little bit. It was enough for our sniper to take that shot. I'm sharing that because I want people to understand what we're dealing with through this war and how Hamas using their people. It's not just Hamas. There is another tons of terror groups inside the Gaza Strip. But how they're using our morality against us, how they're using crippled people, how they're using, it's just, I don't know, I can't describe that. I think people just read it and understand what we've been through because we've been through a lot, but unfortunately, people still criticizing us.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that story because that is an important example of, the narrative that we get from legacy media and those that are not supportive versus what you're truly seeing happening on the ground. Of course, we as, those of us that have humanity care about all humans and care about the civilians that are being killed in this conflict. And often IDF is and Israel is being blamed, but you're seeing that it's Hamas that is actually using these civilians as human shields, and they are to blame for this violence, and it needs to be confronted. And so I think those stories are important, and that's why I think your book is so important, is because you're able to give those firsthand accounts of what you've observed and been through. And so I do want to remind people that they can pick up your book on Amazon October 7th, and Elkanah is the author, Elkanah Cohen. And I would like to learn a little bit more about you. You mentioned that you never necessarily envisioned yourself having to be involved in this conflict, don't necessarily want to. You're having to put your life at risk, but you're doing it for the cause. Tell me a little bit more about your background, where you grew up, how you did get involved.
Well, so I born in Jerusalem. Then my parents moved to the south of Israel. I raised there, and then I found that every teenager, when he finished high school in Israel, is drafting into the IDF. Here it's an obligation. It's everybody needs to take part of it, and I went into test of drafting into special units, and this is where I found myself. I passed the test, and then I went into 1 year and 4 months of training. I'm just making sure that I was participating in another training course of a higher unit. I broke my hand and I moved to a different unit, and I finished my training course over there. And after that, I went into officer course, which I met my wife, by the way, in my unit. She also served in my unit. It's Duvdevan, and the one who watched Fauda on Netflix, the series, it's based on our unit. But I think it was 4 years ago when I finished my service, my active service. I opened my own business. I became a personal trainer in group training, and I gave a lot of lectures about meaningful service. And I loved my business, but unfortunately that day I was needed to shut down my business. While we're talking, I closed my business because I can't do that. Just the last year I did over 240 days of reserve duty. Me and my wife, by the way, she also do a lot of reserve. And yeah, as I mentioned, I don't want this war, but I can trust those terrorists who want to slaughter me, my family, my friends, and they show their attention over and over again. This is their only wish, to wipe out the state of Israel. And for that, I'll do everything in order to protect my country.
Great. And so what do you hope that people will get from reading your book?
First of all, I would like people to be able to get into soldier shoes and understand what we actually been through. During me journaling and documenting everything we've been through, I also wrote a lot about our emotion, our thoughts, our dilemmas during the fight. And I want people to understand just what's truly going on and what we experience in this war. And hopefully people would understand and will support the state of Israel. And I also want to say thank you for the one who are supporting. It's mean a lot. And while we talking, I feel I feel all of your support. And I want to say thank you to you, but also thanks for everyone who are supporting. It's mean a lot. And yeah, I think that's it.
Great. So yes, continue the support, continue the prayers for those that are fighting on the front lines. And if you want to have a little bit of understanding, make sure that you pick up Captain Elkanah Cohen's book. You can find it on Amazon October 7th. Just search for that and his name and it will pop up. Thank you so much for sharing your story. And I hope that people grab your book.
Thank you very much. I just want to add a little more thing. If someone have any question, you much more than welcome to send me a message on Instagram. My account is ELKANA_KUNO. And hopefully I'll have any answer to your question. Or if you want to go to my site, my website, it is ELKANA-COHEN.com, elkanah-cohen.com. Thank you very much for the interview, and hopefully we will hear just good news.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much. All right. So like he said on Instagram, Elkanah_Kuno and -Cohen would be the website to get more information. All right. We are going to wrap things up on the other side. Have some scripture for you, maybe even a video. But first, let's hear from the sponsors that make the show possible.
Attention patriotic businesses. Do you want to see your sales skyrocket by selling your products or services to like-minded patriots? Well, if you're an advertiser who embodies the timeless principles of freedom, liberty, and patriotism, look no further than Patriot TV. Our viewers are responsive, economically active patriots who are committed to supporting businesses like yours that align with their values. For more information on advertising on America's new network of proud American businesses, email us at advertise@patriot.tv. Don't let them win. Patriot TV is committed to delivering the truth. America's new network for patriots is growing fast, and we'd love you to join us as a member of Patriot TV. Your support makes it possible for us to continue to deliver unbiased reporting, thought-provoking discussions, and insights you won't find anywhere else. From in-depth interviews to behind-the-scenes footage, Patriot TV brings you closer to the voices shaping our nation's future. Whether it's political developments, cultural shifts, or global affairs, Patriot TV keeps you informed and empowered. As a member of Patriot TV, you'll get perks like personal invitations to exclusive Patriot TV events, where you can gather and network with like-minded Americans. We'll also host online events throughout the year with General Flynn, who's committed to host live Q&A webinars where callers like you can ask him questions and get real answers. Access to these events will be members only, so go to patriot.tv, click on Become a Member. It's fast and easy. We have a great membership option starting at just $9.99 a month, or save with our annual membership for only $99, or take advantage of the best value, the 2-year membership for just $159. Go to patriot.tv, click on Become a Member. It's fast and easy. Do your part to make sure the truth gets out to all patriots and help ensure future programming. Become a member today. Just go to patriot.tv, click on Become a Member, join today.
Please do. You can become a member at patriot.tv/counternarrative. Patriot.tv/counternarrative. Please sign up on my dedicated page there, the counter narrative page. Like I said, patriot.tv/counternarrative. It'll let them know that you appreciate this show in particular. And, you know, General Flynn just had one of those events where he was speaking to members only. And if you missed it, don't worry, there'll be more. But to become a part of those that have exclusive access to that, you're going to want to become a member. And there's lots of options there that you see to become a member. You can feel good knowing that your money is going directly to support these shows that give you the counter narrative, that give you analysis, being a voice for the voiceless, hearing from people that the legacy media would never interview. So again, please go to patriot.tv/counter narrative and sign up to become a member straight from that page. That will continue to support me personally in my effort to bring you truth, analysis, and exclusive interviews if you sign up there. All right. Also want to let you know to another way you can support me is going to patriotswitch.com. That's patriotswitch.com/Christy Lee TV. That's /Christy Lee TV after patriotswitch.com. From there, you can become a member of a company where you can just have your groceries delivered. And this is another way to make the switch, to take money, deprive money from Walmart, Target, all of those big box stores that go on to support the name brands like Procter & Gamble, et cetera, that now we've come to know have a lot of toxins in them. So if you want to get away from the toxins, you want to get away from supporting causes of the woke ideology, things that directly harm our children, then you can start getting your groceries delivered instead, and probably at a much lower cost. I know it's saving me money. Just going to patriotswitch.com/Christy Lee TV. You can have a quick phone call with them to make sure you fully understand how it works. But it's really nice to be able to choose what you need, whether it be toothpaste, shampoo, protein bar, snacks. It's all there. So check it out, please. And here is the scripture of the day. Be very careful then how you live, not as unwise, but as wise, making the most of every opportunity, because the days are evil. And yes, they are. So make the most of every opportunity. Live as a wise person. Have that discernment that you need, right? And if you want to dig into God's word with me, have a group of fellowship, praying for one another and sharing with one another in worship and in God's word, then consider supporting me on Locals and joining my daily Bible study. It goes Monday through Friday, 7:30 a.m. is when we begin. You just wake up, roll over, and we're usually following a devotional plan together, a short one that we can discuss. And again, just pray and fellowship together. You can do that at ChristyLeeTV.locals.com. That's ChristyLeeTV.locals.com, or you can just search for my name under Locals. And if we have time, we can play some of the Comma Chameleon video. It's important to have some lightheartedness and some fun. So if there's time, we'll play that straight out of this at the end. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and don't forget to share the counter narrative.
Now I'm on the right side.
We are all in this together.
Unburdened by what has been, I heard you say. Are you misunderstood or just cray-cray? Keep them in jail is your prescription. That Indian who doesn't know it won't go well is my prediction. You came with Joe, you gotta go.
Kamala Chameleon.
Kamala Chameleon. You came with Joe, you gotta go. Your mother's home is India, your dad is a dance hall king. Not what you seem, Indo-Caribbean queen.
Brown woman with an accent.
Now we hear your salad words every day, and the words a teleprompter help you say.
I'm not finished.
That my rights are an affliction.
We have to stay woke.
The wall is way too long.
Full
When
communism.
they come, give them a voucher. The invasion is going strong.
Do not come.
Kamala Chameleon. I'm gonna come. Came with Joe.
He's celebrating Kwanzaa.
Cover it! Kamala Harris.
Fooling them was easy, keep covering up the truth. Red, white, and blue. New avian flu.
Yeah, girl, I'm out here in these streets.
Every speech you're a repeat.